as we dive into chapter 13, we find this chapter is broken up into three categories or sections. First, Paul addresses the church's dealings with the government. Secondly, he addresses their dealings with their neighbors. And finally, starting with verse 11, he addresses their dealings with themselves. This scripture is the focal point for this youth convention by which the theme, Game Over, has been concluded. Paul writes, and that, knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep. For now is our salvation nearer than when we believed. In order to get a clearer or better understanding of what a scripture is saying, I find it very helpful to look up the meanings of words. Especially if they stand out or if they are just words I just don't know the meaning to. So while reading this scripture, I said to myself, what is Paul saying when he is saying in this verse, high time? What does that mean here? So turn to your neighbor. Say, neighbor. What does high time mean? Turn back to that neighbor. Say, neighbor. Ask her. She looked it up. Oh, y'all so rude, so rude. High time means the appropriate time or past the appropriate time. So in other words, Paul is saying, knowing the time, that now is the appropriate time to awake out of sleep. Now is the time to awake out of this state of unconsciousness. Now is the time to awake out of that state of mind you've previously been in. Now is the time to awake from those things that have been inhibiting you from moving forward. Understand, people of God, sin puts you to sleep spiritually. I'm going to say that again. Sin puts you to sleep spiritually. And while you're sleeping, sin brings on darkness. Use your imagination with me. While you're sleeping, sin brings on darkness. And darkness then provides a cover for you to sleep comfortably while you're in your sin. So if you can imagine yourself sleeping at night, before you really get comfortable, most times, especially if you know, it's cold, what you do? You pull that cover, get real comfy in there so you can get what? Good sleep. And while you're in sin, that's what darkness does. It pulls this cover over you and makes you real comfortable in doing what you're doing. Darkness makes you comfortable by changing your mood, your mind, and your attitude towards the things you have no business doing. And let me add this, it's very hard to change someone's mind when they personally feel there's nothing wrong with what they're doing. Try it. You will argue with them all day long. You will hear every reason or excuse why it's okay. You will even hear scriptures twisted to fit their situation. Or you'll hear those statements such as, God knows my heart. He